Okay guys, so let me show you what we will create in the next few hours. So as you can see, there's the home page. We have a beautiful animation right here, and the best thing is that we will create that animation all by ourselves, okay? And yeah, if I reload the page, there are a few more animations as you can see, right? And yeah, we will use a library for that, so don't worry, we'll write it like literally in 5 minutes, okay? Then we have the call to action section. As you can see, there are animations playing on the background, and once we scroll to the point, the animation will start playing. And then we have the portfolio section, and inside here we have like, okay, sorry about it, inside here we have like few images and some text around it. And then we have the contact us section where we have like simple form, once again the animated button, and a map. And lastly we have a footer, basic simple footer. I think it looks quite cool. So let me actually show you how it looks like on a tablet. As you can see, there is the menu, simple drop down menu. And then we have the first one, the home section. Basically, okay, it looks quite cool in my opinion. The call to action section, also the services, and the portfolio. Okay, it looks quite similar to the desktop size. Only the contact us page is right now takes the whole screen. Okay, and the footer looks exactly the same. Cool, and let's also take a look at the mobile version. So as you can see, there is once again the drop down menu, and then we have like a same thing, right? So the home screen, we have the buttons, call to action, and right now each services take the whole screen. Okay, and same goes for the portfolio. This will take the whole screen. Okay, let's move on. Inside here we have the contact us. As you can see, there is the map and the form, and lastly we have the footer. Everything is styled properly and works great. Okay, so let's get started. As you can see, here's my Visual Studio Code. Here is the Bootstrap 4 extension. Make sure to install it. Okay, so let's go and reach out to our files that we have in here. So as you can see, there's the CSS folder inside which we will have the animate. Okay, so the animate.css, then we have the image folder with all of the images that we need, and lastly we have the JavaScript folder. Okay, so let me actually get started and create a new file called index.html, and let's also create a new CSS file. So inside the CSS folder, let's create the main.css like this. Cool. So inside here, we will use the Bootstrap 4 extension and create the basic template. So simply type B4 and then hit enter. And let's set the title of the website. So for example, Backtoe, okay, like this, and hit save. So as you can see, everything is automatically imported. Cool, so let me also add another styles that we will need. So let's write a comment, and inside here will be the style, well, the style, so the main style of ours, and we will simply type a link, and it will be a style sheet, so like this, and then we will have a reference to it, and this will be inside the CSS folder and main CSS. Let's close this thing. Okay, so let's save it. And let's also import the font awesome. So basically this thing, okay, this will import the icons that we need. So inside here, I will just write a new link with the same rel. So this will be a style sheet like this. And the reference will be to the link that we just copied. Okay, and let's close the tag and save it. And lastly, we will also need a font. So I'll just close this tab. And let's take a look at the Google fonts, and inside here we will use this one. I cannot even pronounce it correctly. Yeah, it's M and something else, okay, whatever. Basically, you just want to select this font, so click on this button, and then inside here you want to customize it and import even the bold and the super bold. And yeah, and then you want to simply just copy and paste this link. So copy, and then inside our project we will just paste it like this. Cool. So that's basically every CSS a property and dependency, and we have been taking care of it. Cool. So let's actually reload the page and see how it looks like. There should be nothing. Okay, the title is correct. So let me actually get started with the navigation. So inside the body, what we will do is I will just close this thing so we have more space, and inside here we will basically type in here the navbar. So the Bootstrap for navbar, and we will use the default navbar. Okay, so this one. Cool. Let's get rid of those things. And then, as you can see, there's the navbar expand. So that basically means when do you want the navbar to expand. So when we are on mobile phone, there will be like the menu icon that we can click on and the menu will expand, right? And inside here we can define the width of the device where basically the icon will appear, okay? So if this is a small, like this, so that means the icon will appear on a mobile phone, but on tablet, we will just have the menu like this, the same way as on desktop, okay? If we put a MD, that means the icon will be even on a tablet, okay? So yeah, let's put in here the MD, and you can even make the navbar fixed at the top, so fixed top. Okay, let's actually reload this thing and see how it looks like. Okay, so there's the navbar. It should be fixed at the top. You cannot see it right now. Cool, so then inside here, as you can notice, inside our theme, there's a space around it. So that means it is inside a container. So you can simply type in here the container. And yeah, it doesn't... Yeah, it does. So container, it just took a while. So like this, and yeah, let's get rid of the dot and let's simply copy paste everything. So all the content, we'll just select it, Control X, and put it inside here. Cool, so then we have the navbar, so instead of this we will just type the vector, okay, and then what do we have next? Then there's the icon, so we will do just nothing about it. And then there is the navbar, so the actual navbar. So let me just get rid of this form. We will not need it anymore. And inside here is the drop-down menu. So you can even keep the drop-down menu if you want, but we will not use it in our project, so I will just get rid of that. And yeah, so let's actually style the navbar. So the navbar should have the class collapse, navbar collapse, and then we also want to move the navbar to the right side of the page, right? So inside here we will have just justify, content, end. Okay, let's save it and let's actually reload this thing and see whether it works. Okay, it doesn't for some reason. Okay, let's see. Okay, inside here we want to get rid of all of those stuff. And simply inside here type the nav. And let's reload this thing and see whether it works. Yeah, it works now. Cool. So then what we need to do is basically change all of those items, sorry. So inside here is the about us. And then what do we have next? Pricing, themes, services, and gallery. Okay, so pricing. And let me just copy paste those. So copy, paste. Pricing, theme, then was services, and then gallery. It very much doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want, right? And lastly was the button contact us, right? So contact us. And as you can notice inside here, it is styled as a button. And in order to do that, we can simply just add classes to this link, right? So inside here will be just the button. And this one will be the button outline secondary, like this. Okay, so let's actually reload this thing and see how it looks like. And yeah, it looks like this. Cool, so that's pretty much it for this one. Underneath the navbar, we have the home section, so let's just create that. So underneath the navbar, I'll just move it like this. and we will start typing a command for the home section. Okay, and this will be just a new section, so that means an HTML5 tag with the class home, and because we will style it later on in our CSS, and then also the class container. And inside here we will have a div with, once again, the class row, and it also have a margin at the top if I'm not mistaken. And okay, and then what do we have there? So inside here is a image, right? So let's actually write that down. So this should be a div with the class call large and 6, and it has some margin at the top. So margin top will be 5, and also padding on the y-axis just to make the image bigger, okay? And also the padding on the left to move it towards the right, okay? Cool, like this. And then we actually have the image itself. So there is a few classes for the image. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the image fluid, and it also should have the alternative text and the source of the image, which is in the image folder, and the phone.png. Okay, so if I close the tag, save it, and reload our page. So this one, and reload it. As you can see, there's the image, and it looks exactly the same as this one. Cool, so let's move on to the text part. So once again, we will create a new div with the class of the remaining 6. So call large and 6. And we also want it to be aligned on the y-axis, right? So margin on the y-axis will be auto. And then we will have another class with the row. So basically inside the 6, we will have another row, so another 12, okay, 12 columns that we can use. And from the 12 columns, we will use only 10, and we will have the one spaced and the other one also as a space around it, right? So as you can see around here, there's a space inside here and space inside here. So that's basically those ones, okay? So let's actually write it down. So inside the row, we will have the class, and this one, we can also add a class to it because we maybe want to style it in our CSS. So let's call this one home content, and let's also give it a offset. So offset on the large screen will be 1, and the call on the large screen will be 10, okay? And yeah, so let's close this thing, and let's actually add the headings. So h1, we also need to add a class to it, some padding. It will definitely need some padding. And yeah, let's copy paste the text. So this one, copy and then paste. Okay, here it is. And we also have a paragraph in there, and this one will have just the same class as the headings. So I'll just copy paste it in here and copy paste this text. Okay, so this is just a lorem ipsum. You can obviously use some lorem ipsum generator, or you can just keep those texts empty, or you can write whatever you want. Okay, cool. And then we have 2 buttons. So one of them is a button with the, okay, button like this, with the class of basically btn as a button, and it also is the button outline secondary, like this. Okay, and then we have also, if I'm not mistaken, they are large. Okay, so button large, like this. Okay, and it says learn more, so learn more, like this. Save this thing, and let's also, I'll just simply copy paste the button for the second one, and we'll style it later on in our CSS, okay? And this one should be just button secondary, and it says, I think, contact us or something like that. So contact us, and yeah, so let's save it, and let's actually reload this thing and see how it looks like. Okay, it looks quite good. So we will style with the font spacing and the buttons later on, right? But the HTML looks quite good. Alright, so let me start with the comment, and this one should be just the call to action, like this, and inside here we will have a section, and inside the section, well, we will actually add a class to the section, right? So the section will have a class, and the class will be just call to action, like this. And let's also add a padding to it. So padding on the y-axis will be around 5. Let me just get rid of this one, and I also need to delete this thing. Okay, and then what do we have? Well, we have some div with a class container, okay, and inside it we have the text and stuff like that, but it's quite small, right? It's like half of the screen and it's aligned to the center. So let's actually write it down. So the text is aligned to center and the width will be only 50%, okay. And then inside it we will have the h2 heading, okay, like this, with the class basically padding on the y-axis. Okay, so we will add the same padding as in the home section. Okay, and it says just call to action if I'm not mistaken. So call to action. Obviously it will say something different in a real website. And yeah, then we have a div, so basically this line, okay, and we need to add some classes to it and then style it later on with the CSS. Okay, so we'll basically align it to center, so margin on the x-axis will be set to auto, and then we need to add some class to it so that we can style it later on in the CSS. So for example, heading line. Cool. And then what do we have? We have some paragraph, if I'm not mistaken, and it also has some space around it, so padding on the y-axis will be free. Cool, and let's actually copy paste this text. So copy and then paste around here. Okay, paste it. And then we have a button, and the button is what it is. Well, let me actually take a look at it. It's not different, it's not the outline, it's just the primary. Okay, so this will have the button. It's also a larger button, and it's the button primary, if I'm not mistaken. And it says just learn more, like this. Cool. So let's save it and let's actually take a look at how it looks like. There will not be the black background or something like that, and also the line is not here. But yeah, overall it looks quite cool. So let's move on to these services. If I go back to our theme and take a look at them, okay, these services looks like this. So I'll just simply write another comment like this, and this will say just services, and inside it I will create a new section, and okay, not service obviously, but section, and it will have a class called services, so that we can style it later in our CSS if we need to. And then what do we have? Well, we have some heading, right? And it is just aligned to center, right? So it's basically the same as this one. So I will probably just copy paste this thing, this whole thing. Okay, copy paste, save it, and let's get rid of those two. And inside here, it says just a services or something like that. Cool. Services, and then there is the line. So let me actually reload this thing and see how it looks like, whether it is actually aligned to center. Okay, it is. Cool. So let's go back and let's see what do we have next. So that's the services and the line taken care of. Right now, let's take care of the content. So I will create a new div with the class container. And inside it, we will have another div with the class row. And inside it, we will have another div, and that will be just this thing. Okay, so let me actually write it down. So it will have a class of call large 4, if I'm not mistaken. Or we can even display it the same way as on the middle device. So even on tablet, we will have like three columns next to each other on one row. Okay, cool. It have a text aligned to center, like this. It have, what did it have? Well, that's it. probably. Let's see. And then we have an icon, right? And the class of the icon is just FA and then FA laptop, if I'm not mistaken. So like this, and let's close this thing. Okay, and then inside here we have the h4 heading with the class of padding on the y-axis free. So we just keep the padding pretty much same way throughout all of those elements, right? Everywhere is padding free, and for the section is padding 5. Okay, cool. And yeah, so inside here it says just web design. Okay, and then lastly we have the paragraph, and it says also it has some padding, but this time it's like padding between those two, so that's a bit larger. So padding at the bottom will be just 5. Okay, and let's just copy paste this thing. Copy and then paste. So that should be one article. There are 6 of them, so I'll just copy paste those. Okay, one more. So this, and save it. And let's actually reload the page and see how it looks like. Whether that's okay. Yeah, that looks fine. So I also changed the heading and the icon for each of those articles so that it match our theme, right? As you can see, there's the briefcase and the code and CSS free. So there's this one, buck and magnet. Okay, so it looks like this, and it looks exactly the same way as here. Okay, only the styling is a bit different. We'll fix that. And let's move on to the portfolio part. So the portfolio, cool. So inside here, I will just create a new comment. So portfolio, like this. And then we will have a new section. So this section will have a class of portfolio so that we can style it later on. And also a container fluid. So what that means, what's the difference? So the container, okay, I need to close this thing. Cool. And so the container, as you can see, for example, in here, takes only this part. Okay, so only from here to here. Okay, this is a space. And the container fluid just takes the whole screen. Okay, so the 100% width. Cool. And yeah, so let's write actually the rest down. So once again, we have the heading. So I will just copy paste this thing. And yeah, I noticed just one more thing, and that is that inside here is a different background, right? It's the background light, if I'm not mistaken. So let's actually add it. So inside here should be the background light. Okay. And yeah, so inside here, I just copy paste the text, and it says portfolio. Like this, everything stays the same. And yeah, then let's actually write the contents. So div class row, and inside the row we have a few images and a few, I don't know, like articles or something like that, basically descriptions of the project. So let's actually do that. So first of all, we have an image, and it have the class of call, large, and free, right? There's 4 of them. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And there's also some padding by default, so I will just remove the padding by writing padding 0. And yeah, so let's close this thing. Then what you can notice is that there is some green like rectangle in front of it, so let's actually write it down. So it's like just a div, and I will just give it a class of filter. It pretty much doesn't matter. We will just style it later on in the CSS. Okay, cool. So let's just write the image. Let's add the image. So the class will be just image fluid, so that it will take the whole space it can, and the source will be just in the image folder, and there is like the portfolio 1. Cool. And let's also add the alt, and let's just keep it empty. Obviously, if you want to write something, you can. And yeah, so let's move on and write the description. So inside here, we will have a new div with the class call large free. Okay, so they are the same size. We also need to add some class to it so that we can style it later on in our CSS. So let's just keep it dark. Okay, and I forgot to close this thing. And I need to write a new div. Okay, and let's save this thing. Cool. And after the dark, we want to display it flex. So we will display it as a flex box, and we will align those items to center. So align items is basically how we can define how those items will be aligned on the y-axis, and justify content aligns them on the x-axis in the flexbox. Okay, so inside here, I will also align it to center on the x-axis. So justify content and center like this. And that should be it. Okay, so let's actually write the actual content. So inside here we will have a class. We also need to add a div with the class text center so that it is actually centered with the text. Okay, and inside here we will have just some heading. So for example, heading of the level 4, and let's just add some padding on the y-axis like this, and inside here it just says HTML, and then there's the ampersand, so like this. Okay, like this, and CSS. Okay, and let's actually write those icons. So one of the icon is the Facebook. So once again, we are using the font awesome, and this one is the Facebook. Okay, like this, and another one is the Twitter. I forgot to put them inside a link. Obviously, you want to probably link something, so I'll just add a link to it, and I will just put a margin to the link, so margin on the x-axis, right, so that there is some space. We can even use the margin on the y-axis. Yeah, why not? Why not? I will just use the margin on the whole area surrounding the element. Okay, cool. And what do we have next? Well, we obviously want to define the link, so I will just keep it like this. And close the tag, and actually let me put this icon inside the link, and let me just copy paste this thing. So copy and then paste, and there's 4 of them, and inside here it says Twitter like this, then there is Google, and lastly is the Git. So let me actually save this thing and see how it looks like. So I will reload our theme and move to the end. There's the portfolio. Okay, and it looks quite cool, right? There's the HTML and CSS and those icons. So yeah, let me actually just... Okay, inside here is a typo. Okay, it should be at center, right? Those elements should be at center. So if I reload the page, yeah, they are. Cool. And yeah, so let me actually copy paste those things, because there is like 2 of them. So like this, and inside here will be the second portfolio, and I'm not sure what it says in the actual resulting theme programming. It says, okay, so instead of this, it will say programming. Cool, let's save it and let's reload the page and see how it looks like. Okay, there's another image and programming. Cool. And then what we need to do is just basically change the order of them. So first of all, we'll have the text, okay, on the next row, and it will just say web design or something like that. And then we will have the image. Okay, so image goes underneath the text. And the portfolio will be just like free. Okay, and let me just actually copy paste this thing and change it for the last one. And the last one says, I think, portfolio or something like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter, okay? And inside here we'll have the 4. So let me actually reload the page and see how it looks like. And basically the portfolio is the hardest part of the whole project. And yeah, it looks good. So yeah, we are done with that. The contact us page is quite simple. As you can see, there's the contact us, then there's the some map and some inputs. And so yeah, let's write it down. So underneath the section, I will just write a new comment. Okay, so like this, and it will just say contact us. Okay, like this, and we will just have a new section for it. So section with the class contact, and inside here we will have a new div with the class container. And yeah, then we can just once again use the heading from different sections so that we don't necessarily have to write it down. So I will just copy paste the heading. Okay, I can't scroll for some reason. What's happening? That's weird. And yeah, okay, so I will just paste it inside here. And then what do we need? Well, we need a Google Maps. So I'll just create a new div with the class call on the large 6. Okay, and inside it I will just paste the Google Maps code that you can generate. I already generated it in at the Google developers, right? There's a API that you can use, and basically you can get the code that I am using right here. Okay, so that will basically take care of the Google map. You can obviously change the place where you want the map to be displayed and stuff like that. So yeah. And another thing that we want to do is create a new div. Well, actually, let me change it to form, right? Because we will have just a form. And it will have the class of call large 6, right? So the other half of the screen. And inside here, we will have the inputs. So there's like the class and form group, okay? And inside it, we will have the label. So the label for email, like this, and it will just say email like this, and then we will have the actual input, so input, and it will have the ID email. Okay, so ID email, it will have the type of email, so type will be email like this. Cool. And you can obviously define the name and stuff like that if you want, but yeah, I will also add the area described by. So described by this one, and I will just write email hint or something like that. And yeah, also a placeholder. So placeholder, and it will just say enter email like this. And let's close the tag. Cool. And let me actually go to underneath, and inside here I will write a new tag, and it will be a small text. Okay, so that's just a tag for a text, and it will have the ID of this, so email hint. So let me just paste this, and yeah, it will also have a class of a form text, so form text, and also a text muted. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So let me actually copy paste the text from here, copy and then paste like this. Right, obviously you can just delete that if you don't want it to be displayed on your side. And yes, so that's about it. That's one control taken care of. And let me actually just copy paste it and do the same for the name. So name, and inside here we will have name, inside here will be name, the type will be text, and instead of enter email will be enter name, and I will just get rid of this thing. Okay, and I will also get rid of this thing. And yeah, that should be it. That should be it. And lastly, we'll have the message, right? So that's the name taken care of, and let's move on to the message. So around here, I will just write the message, so the label message, and it will be for the message. The ID of this element will be message, and this will be a text area. Okay, so instead of input, okay, text area, and let me actually define the closing tag for it. Cool, and instead of here, should be like enter message or something like that. And yes, so let me actually reload the page and see what it looks like. And I think we probably forgot about something, so we will just need to fix that. Okay, there's some error. So what is going on? Okay, obviously inside here we need to define the div with the class row. and put everything from here inside it, like this. So Control X and Control V, and let's save it. And let me actually reload this thing, and I notice another mistake I made. So inside here I forgot to define the classes, and the class should be just form control, like this. So I will just copy paste those and put it to every input, so inside here and even inside here. And let me just save and reload this thing. Okay, and let's see how it looks like now. There's no change. Did I save it properly? Okay, there's no change. Okay, I made a mistake. I made a typo. So control. Okay, and let's reload the page. Right now it should work. And yeah, another thing that you can notice is that there is a multiple rows inside the message. Okay, so let me actually change that by typing inside, pretty much down here. I will write just rows and the number of them. I'm not sure whether you can see it because I have head inside here. So yeah, basically this thing, rows and the number of rows, just 5 or something like that. So let me actually save this thing and reload it. And yeah, we also need to add the button. I completely forgot about the button. And yeah, so the button is just the classical button. So the type will be submit. And the class will be just button. It's the large button, so button large. And it's the button outline primary. Okay, so basically we will style it later on. And it just sent submit or something like that, I think. You can change it to send or something like that. But yeah, if I reload the page, it should look, yeah, it looks like that. So cool, let's move on to the footer. Okay, so before we go to the footer, we also need to take care of some problems. I noticed, well, those are not problems, but they are definitely not necessary. As I copied and pasted those elements, I noticed that we also have the container class inside here, and we also have the width of 50% inside here, and we just definitely don't need that. And yeah, also as you can notice, there's like some padding on the y-axis with the heading. So let me actually add that class, right? If you take a look at the heading inside our final theme, there's like padding around it. So let me actually change all of those. So even the portfolio. So instead of container and instead of the width of 50%, I will just add a padding on the y-axis of 5. And yeah, the same goes for these services, right? So instead of container, right, we don't need to just change the width and 50. It would still work, but yeah, it's better this way. So let's add the padding of the 5. Cool, so let's actually move on to the footer. So I'll just write a new comment, called footer, like this. Okay. And yeah, so let's take a look at how it looks like. We have some heading, basically. Then we have text, we have links, and then we have like the I don't know, copyright and stuff like that. So yeah, let's write it down. Inside here, we will create a new tag called footer with the class footer if we want to style it. And then inside the footer, we just have like few things, right? We have basically the heading. I can just copy paste it. So copy and paste it. And inside here, it just say vecto or something like that. And obviously you want to probably say the name of your company or something like that. And yeah, so then we have the div with the text. And yeah, so let's add it a row. And it also has some basically space at the bottom. So let's add a margin to the bottom of 3 because we like keep using the 3. And yeah, so let me actually write it down. So this one will have the div of the class call large, and as you can notice, the text doesn't flow directly to the edges, right? So this would be like 12, but it have like 8 instead, I would say. So call large 8, and it also have a offset on the large of 2, and we also align the text to center, so text center. And yeah, then we have basically the paragraph. So I will just copy paste this thing, and we actually don't need any class for it. We will just have like the plain text, and if we need to style it, we can style it using the footer class, right? So we can target it as a paragraph inside footer. Okay, cool. And then we have the menu. So basically an unordered list with the class navigation, right? So we have the, basically want to align it and at one row, and then we want to align it to center. So justify content and center. And yeah, and inside here we will have just a link with the class of nav item like this, and inside every nav item will be a age, so basically a link with the class of a nav link like this, and also some href. So basically you can write whatever you want. I'll just keep it this way, and inside here is like about us or something like that. And yeah, you usually want to put like terms and conditions of the page, stuff like that, like affiliates or maybe something like that. I will just copy and paste it several times, and let me just reload the page, see what it looks like. So obviously it will not be black and it will not look like the final theme, right? So inside here we'll have the line, but yeah, it looks quite cool. And lastly, we have the credits. So yeah, for example, this image is from the free pick side, if I'm not mistaken, or from the vectors. Yeah, basically from this side. Okay, so we need to credit them in order to use it for free, right? So don't put those links away. You could get sued. Okay, so let's actually add it into our page. So down here underneath the div, well, actually underneath this div, okay, we will have another div with a class of, I don't know, like copyright, and we can add like text centered, center, okay. No, I have a typo, center, cool. And then like some padding, so padding on the y-axis, let's say free, and yeah, also a border at the top. And let me actually make the text muted so it looks cool, right? It's not muted inside here, but it will look better when it is muted. And then we have like some paragraph basically made by me. Cool, so I will just copy and paste it inside here. And instead of this thing, we will have the copy like this. And then we have the link to the vector designed by. So once again, a paragraph, and inside here we will have the vector designed by somebody from here. So we actually need to add a link with the href being equal to this thing. Okay, and yeah, well, let me actually add HTTPS in front of it like this. Cool. And yeah, inside as a text we will just have the same thing, so this thing like this. And yeah, so let's save it and let me actually check how it looks like. So if I reload the page, there should be, yeah, there it is. It looks quite cool. So that's pretty much it for the footer. Right now we are done with the HTML, so let's actually take a look at the CSS and style the page exactly how it looks right here. So yeah, let's go to the main.css. Inside here I already pasted the colors that we will use inside our theme. And let me just actually start with the whole body, so basically everything that will apply to everything. And inside here we want to define the font, and the font is just the one that we already imported from the Google Fonts, okay, and it should spell like this and like this. And let me actually reload the page whether it works. So if I go to the theme and reload the page, the font should be, yeah, it's different, definitely different. So let me also target the font weight of the headings, so of some headings, Inside here we will have the biggest font weight, okay, and then we will have the smaller one for the H4, H5 and H6, right? So this one will be still bolder but not as bold, so this one will have like 700. Let's save this thing and reload it. The heading should be like quite bigger. Okay, there. Alright, so let's move on and style up those buttons. Okay, so let me go with a comment for buttons and close the comment. So star and slash like this. And then what do we have? Well, we have the button primary, well, secondary, right? So the button outline secondary. And we want to style it a bit. So inside here, what do we want? Well, let me actually go back to the template and see how it looks like. Okay, so we have the background color of none, right? So the background color will be transparent, like this. And this needs to be important, otherwise the Bootstrap library will override this, okay? And then what do we have? We have the border color. And the border color is the black one, so 0, 1, 16, and 27, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is one. And let's also write it as an important thing. And also the color will be the same, so like this, and also important, like this. Cool, let's save this thing and actually see how it looks like. So let's go back to our theme and reload the page. And we also need to change the border. So border radius will be 0. And this also needs to be important. I'm not sure. So let me actually reload the page, see how it looks like. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily have to be important. Cool, so that's basically the button, but we still don't have the animation in there. So let me actually go ahead and create the animation. So in order to do that, we will create something called a pseudo element of the CSS. So you can think of it as a div or something like that, that you can target by using the before or after keyword, okay? So basically this thing is the selector, okay, for the div that is before the button outline secondary, okay? And in every pseudo element, you need to define the content. Usually it is just empty. And then you can style it. So the position will be absolute, like this. The background color will be the primary one. So this one. Okay, copy and paste it. Cool. Then what do we have next? The top. So we start at the top. This will be set to 0, and the left will be also set to 0. And the height will be 100%, so basically everything. And the width will be 0. So that we will not see it, right? By default, we will not see the before element, but it will be there. We also need to define the z-index so that it is actually behind the button. So z-index -1. And yeah, also the transition property. So transition, and let's make it like 0.5 seconds, like this. And that should be it. So also we need to define inside here the position relative. So position relative, okay. And yeah, so then we actually need to take care of the animation. So basically button outline secondary and the hover. So when we hover over the button outline secondary, we want to do something to the before element, like this. And what do we want to do? Well, we would like to set the width to 100%. And that should work. So let me actually go back to our theme and reload the page and hover over those buttons and see whether it works. There it is. Cool. That's quite cool, right? And yes, so let me actually take care of the other button. So this should be just button secondary. So button secondary, like this, and it should have the background of the black one. So black one, this needs to be important. The border radius of nothing, so border radius We probably could have used like only the button class in order to target the border radius, but yeah, it's too late for that. And yeah, so also we need to define the border color, and the border color will be just the black one. Let's make it important, and let me actually see how it looks like. It should look exactly like the one at the theme. Okay, it does, right? And when we hover over it, it just changes the color. So that's an easy animation. So basically when we hover over the button secondary hover, and what do we want to do? Well, we would like to change the color to the primary one, so this one. And we also need to make it important. And yes, so if I reload the page and hover over it, it should work. Okay, it does. Cool. And also we need to take care of this one, so that's the button primary. And that's the last one. So inside here we have the button primary, and let's actually go back to our theme and check out how it looks like. Alright, so that's it. So this one will be also easy. If you feel like you could do this on your own, feel free to pause the video and try to do it on your own, okay? I'll be here if you somehow mess up or get lost, okay? But anyway, we need to set the background color, then we need to change the border radius to 0, okay, same as before. And then what do we have? We also need to change the border color, once again to the primary one. And this once again needs to be important, like this, and the color is the black one. So the black color, and this is also important. So let's save this thing and let's actually do the hover effect. So when we hover over it, okay, the background and the text changes. So button primary hover, and when we hover over it, the background will be changed to transparent or the, I'm not sure. Okay, the black one. Cool, so the black one, so there's like the 0, 1, this one. And let's make it important. Cool, and the color will change to the primary one, so this one, and let's make it also important. And that's about it. So let me actually reload and see how it looks like. Okay, there is the button, and when I hover over it, there it is. Cool. So that's basically the buttons taken care of. Alright, so let me go from the top to the bottom right now. And so inside here, I'll write a new comment for the navbar, so navigation bar. And yes, so what do we want to do? Well, we would like to target the navbar, and we would like to change the background of it to the white one, so completely white color, and also the border color. So, well, yeah, there's only border at the bottom, so border bottom, and this one should be just 1 pixel solid and some light color, so for example EEE. Okay, and then what do we have? We have like the navigation, right, the logo and the items. So let me actually target that. So navlink and also the navbar brand. So navbar brand. And inside those, I would like to change the color to the black one. So like this, cool. And yeah, let me also define the hover effect. So what happens when we hover over it? Yeah, it changes slightly the color. So the navlink, hover. And you can also do it with the navigation brand. Yeah, let's do it. So navbar brand. And when we hover either on the link or on the brand, we want the color to be changed to something like 777. Cool. And let me actually reload this thing and see how it looks like. So let's reload, and it should look exactly the same as this one. Okay, yeah, it looks exactly the same. Cool. And also, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the logo is big, right? It's bigger definitely than inside here. So let me actually change that. So navbar brand, and inside here we would like to define the font size, and this one should be like 1.8 of the relative, right? So like this, and let me save and reload the page, and yeah, there it is. It looks cool. So yeah, let me actually go ahead and take care of the home page, because I'm not sure whether there is something wrong with it. Okay, there's like some maybe spacing? No, the home page is basically taken care of. So let me actually go ahead and start doing the call to action. So the call to action is actually also quite simple. So inside here, I will just write call to action. And let me style it up. So this should be the call to action class. And what do we want to do? Well, we would like to change the background, right? So the background, and this one will be just the black one. Cool. And the color of the text will be otherwise the white one. So FA, like this. And let me save the thing. And let me actually reload the page. Also, we need to take care of the heading line. Okay, for some reason it doesn't work. Okay, I got 3 L's inside here, so only 2 of them. Let's reload the page and see how it looks like. Yeah, there it is. And yeah, so let's also style the line. So it should be like the heading line, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, so let's just define the height of it to like 3 pixels or something like that. And also the width of it to like 10%. So basically 10% of the space it can take. And the background is the green one, I think, so the primary color. So this one. And let me actually check how it looks like. It should look exactly the same. Yeah, it does. So right now you cannot see difference between those two themes, right? So cool, let's also move on to the services part. So these services should be quite easy to style. So let's get into it. As you can see, there's only the icon that is different from our point of view, right? So let's change it. So I'll just copy paste the comment inside here, put it inside here, and let's write the services. And inside here, I will just target services, any icon that is inside these services, okay? And for every icon, what I want to do, well, I would like to change the font size of it to like 2 relative, and I would also like to change the color to the primary one. Okay, so that's this one. And let me actually reload the theme and see how it looks like. It should look exactly the same. Okay, there it is. I think it looks exactly the same. So let's move on to the portfolio thing. So inside here, let me actually take a look. Okay, the background is good, the spacing is good. So only we have a problem with those images and those cards. So let me actually take care of that. So I'll just copy paste this comment. So instead of services, it will say portfolio. And yes, so let me actually first of all take care of the dark things. So basically this rectangle. And what it will say, well, the color is the primary one, and the background is basically the black color. And let me actually reload the page, see how it looks like. So there will be the most problematic thing will be the filter probably and the images, but this thing is good. We also need to take care of the icons inside there. So basically every icon that is inside the dark card, we would like to change the font size of it to, for example, like 1.3 relative. And we also need to change the color, right? The color should be the primary one, like this. And let's put a semicolon in there and let's reload the page. And it should look exactly like the one icons on the theme. Yeah, there it is. I think it looks exactly the same. So if I go to the theme, yeah, I think it's same. Okay, there's a bit of a difference, maybe optical, because you need to, because those images are bigger in there. So let me actually take care of the images and then you will see that those look the same. So basically portfolio and every image inside it. So image fluid. Okay, so every image inside portfolio will have the height of like 300 pixels, right? Because right now, as you can see, those images have like different heights. There is a space underneath this one. So when I set a fixed height to it, those images will just have the same height, right? And then we also need to take care of how the image is being displayed. So we'll just use the object fit property and set it to cover like this, and let's reload the page and it should look much better. And yeah, so then we also need to take care of the filter, and that's basically the last thing for this section, if I'm not mistaken. So actually I will just let it load in the background. Yeah, it seems like it looks great. So in order to take care of the filter, we need to target every column, right? So every column large 3, and we need to make the position relative like this, and then we can actually target the filter. And what the filter does, well, it have the position absolute. Okay, so absolute like this, and it have basically the width of 100% and the height of also 100%. Okay, so it will basically take the whole image width and the whole image height. And yeah, let's add a background to it. Oh, sorry, so background like this, and this will be just the primary color. And we also need to add the opacity to it, and the opacity will be like 0.8. Let's try this one, and yeah, let's reload the page and see how it looks like. So as you can see, there are the filters, and as you can see, there's the opacity. So the images behind them are actually like visible, but they look like green. Okay, so it looks great in this theme, right? Because we like keep the color scheme untouched. Cool, so that's basically the portfolio taken care of. Alright, so as I'm looking at the contact us section, I noticed that I forgot to change the services, and this button doesn't fit quite right. So let me actually change that. So at the end of the page, okay, there should be like contact us, okay, here. So instead of services, it will say contact us like this. Let's save it. And also the button, there's something wrong with the button. There should be secondary like this. So button outline secondary. Let's reload the page and see how it looks like. It should be much better. Okay, there it is. So if I hover over the button, you cannot see any animation. Yeah, you do. So I have a problem with the computer when it's recording a full HD video. It have troubles with the animations. Yeah, but hopefully you can see it. So let me actually go ahead and style the footer, right? And the footer is actually quite simple to style. So inside here, I will just write a new comment, or I will just copy paste it to save some time. Not sure how much time I will spend by this. Okay, not much. And so like this, and inside here will be like footer. If I wrote it, I would like save some, at least 10 seconds, whatever. And inside here, I will just target the footer. And what we want is change the background to the black one and change the color to the white one. So FF, and also I think, well, actually I'm not sure whether this will work. So if I reload the page, I'm not sure whether I saved it. I didn't save it, so let me actually reload it again. Okay, there it is. We need to add a margin to it, so let me actually go back to this thing, and inside here to put a margin at the top of 5. Okay, let's save it and reload this thing. And also the links are not seen, so basically every link in the footer will be just white, so color, and inside here we have the white like this. Let's save this thing and let's actually reload it again. And yeah, there it is. I think it looks quite cool. Even the muted text probably looks better than the old one. So if I go back to the theme and take a look, okay, there it is. Yeah, this thing looks a bit too wide. Okay, so this should probably be 6. So let me actually fix that. So inside here should be called large 6, and inside here will be the offset of 3. Okay, so let's save it and let's reload this thing and see how it looks like. It should look better. There it is. Well, okay, what's the problem? So maybe there's like padding on the y-axis. So, well, actually, let me add the margin on the x-axis like this to it and see how it looks like right now. Maybe that's the thing. I'm not sure how I created the old template. Anyway, okay, so that's not the problem. Okay, that's like completely wrong. I need to get rid of this. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. If you want to fix that, feel free to fix that. I will just keep it this way because, like, yeah, it still looks quite cool in my opinion. Maybe even better than the first theme. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the CSS. Okay, in order to finish up our theme, all we need to do is take care of the responsiveness of the page. So in order to do that, I will just simply click on the F12 button and the developer tools will pop up. And if you click on this thing, you can toggle between the device that you are showing this on. So basically this is the side on the iPhone X, okay? And let me just go quickly through this and see how it looks like. Okay, we need to add some space around here. So let me actually fix it right away. So actually, let me just get rid of this thing and go directly to the home. And let's just add some margin at the bottom of 5. Okay, cool. Let's reload the page, see how it looks like. Yeah, that's better. And also the call to action, we need to take care of that definitely. So inside here, I will just put another query or just another comment for the responsiveness. So responsive. And then inside here, I will just put a media query. So media. And then inside here, we will have just the max width of, let's say, just 900 pixels. So this will apply even on a tablet. And what do we want? Well, we want the call to action and a container inside it to have the width of 100%. So like this, and this needs to be important, otherwise the Bootstrap will override it. But if I reload the page, there it is. It looks much better. Much better. Okay, let's move on. The services looks good. How about the portfolio? Okay, there's a bit of a problem. Let me also add 300 pixels to the dark, so the height of the other cards will be also 300 pixels, so basically same as the image. So let me just reload this thing and see how it looks like now. Yeah, that looks definitely better. Okay, maybe you can play with the order of things on mobile, but I will just keep it the same. And then we have the contact us, looks good, and the vector, the footer, and that looks also great. Only thing that we have problem with is the icons and the navbar. So inside here there's no icon that I can see. But yeah, so let me take care of the navbar first. So inside here I will just take navbar and I want to target every nav item. So basically every one of those, okay? And then inside here, what do I want to do? Well, every one of them will be displayed block. Okay, so instead of inline, this one will be block, and it will have a width of 100%, and there will be also some padding around it, so 10 pixels and 0 pixels on the left and right. And we also want to align it to center, so text align center. And let's see how it looks like now. So if I reload the page and click on this, yeah, there it is. It looks much better. Cool, so that's basically everything in the mobile version. Let me just add the icon for it. So this should be in Font Awesome icon bars, if I'm not mistaken. So inside here, I will just add an icon with the class of Font Awesome and Font Awesome bars. And let me just close this thing, save it, and reload it, and see how it looks like. There it is. Okay, so this looks quite cool, in my opinion. Okay, let's actually change the device to iPad and see how it looks like on an iPad. So let me just reload this thing. And okay, so this one is definitely a weird. There's some back with the menu, if I'm not mistaken. Or, yeah, there is a problem with the menu being expanded even on a middle device. Okay, so you want to expand it on a large device. So, sorry about it. So, expand on large device. Okay, right now it looks much better. Okay, the menu is still quite good aligned. The picture is there. Yeah, that looks good. Also, call to action, the text will take the whole space. That looks good. The services looks still the same, but the portfolio looks horrible. So let me actually fix that. So underneath the services, we have the portfolio. And let me actually just keep the same size of the portfolio items even on a middle device, so basically on an iPad. So instead of large, I will just change all of those to middle. So that means even on a middle device, it will take, well, 3 of 12 columns inside the row, okay? But it will not change how it looks like in the large device, okay? So let me actually reload the page and see how it looks like now. And yeah, there it is. It looks much better, in my opinion. So once the images load, you should be able to see them. And cool, so the contact us looks great, and the vector looks also great. So that's about it for the responsiveness. This was quite an easy task to do. Okay, so let me just add the animation to our project. So when I reload the page, you can notice the animation. As you can see, they are being played right now. And when I start scrolling, for example, the heading or the articles will pop up. So basically the page is animated. And yeah, so let's do that. So in order to do that, for example, in order to add a animation inside the home section, all we need to do is add a animated class to the element, and then we can use just the animate.css, some of those classes, in order to animate the element. So for example, inside here, I can just put animated and then zoom in, and let's save the page and reload it and see how it looks like. So if I reload the page, okay, it doesn't work for some reason. Oh, I noticed I didn't actually add it. So we need to add the animate.css. So style sheet and then the href to CSS, and there should be animate CSS. Cool. So let's save it and let's actually reload the page, and there should be an animation. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, cool. That's basically how you can add the animation. So when you put an animated class to an element, you can then choose whatever class you want in order to animate it, and you can also add some delays to it. So when I actually play this animation, you can notice that there are some delays, right? There's 1 second, 2 seconds, and then 3 seconds, and those items are delayed. Those animations are delayed. So let me actually create even those, and it's not that hard to accomplish. So inside, well, yeah, the heading is animated, so inside here should be animated, and then there should be like slide in left, if I'm not mistaken, slide in left. So we will slide in from the left side, and we also want to put a delay to it, so delay it for 1 second, and let me actually save it and see how it looks like. So if I reload the page, and let's see, okay, there it is. So yeah, there is a problem with this being still shown even when it is animated. So inside here we will just write overflow hidden. So basically it will hide everything that is not inside the div. So like this, let me reload the page right now. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, then I can just simply copy paste this animation to the paragraph and just delay it even more to 2 seconds. And do the same thing for the buttons, but right now I will just delay them for 3 seconds. And this one will be just the fade in animation because it would look weird for the buttons. And yes, so I'll just copy paste it, and actually let me reload the page and see how it looks like. Okay, that looks cool. But instead of fade in, it should be like zoom in, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, let me just go ahead and check out those animations. There's a lot of them. Yeah, zoom in. So sorry about it. So instead of fade in, obviously if you like the animation, you can just keep it this way. I will just change it to zoom in and reload the page. Oh, that was weird. And reload the page. Okay, that looks cool. That looks also cool. Yeah, there it is. There it is. And another thing I want to mention is that, as it says inside here in the documentation somewhere, yeah, you can delay only for 5 seconds. And if you want to delay more, you need to add your own CSS code. Okay? But yeah, 5 seconds should be enough. Okay, so let me actually go ahead and style even the call to action. So the call to action is also animated, and it is like slide in from down. Okay, so from down like this. So sliding down, it's animated, but when I reload the page, the animation will start even though we are not scrolling, right? We didn't reach the element yet. So when I go inside here, there is no animation. But if I reload it right now, you should be able to see the animation. You doesn't. Why is that? Okay, animated slide in down. Oh, I didn't save the file. So that was quite embarrassing. And let's reload the page. And right now there should be the animation. Yeah, there it is. But once again, when I reload it right here, the animation is being played, but we didn't see it. So in order to fix that, there is a library called wow.js. So basically this thing, right? You can take a look at the code, right? It's just a JavaScript library in order to basically play the animation once you reach them. And all you have to do in order to use the library is put a wow class in front of the element, right? So this is stupid, it shouldn't go inside here. I'll just close this thing. Oh, no, it should go still. Yeah, sorry about it. So around here, and we need to also initialize it. So first of all, we need to import it. So script with the source of JavaScript, and then wow.js. So like this, cool. And also we need to just create a new object. So script, and inside here should be like something like new wow and like this. So let me actually reload the page and see whether it looks like, whether it works. I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I saw some animation down there, so it doesn't work. Okay, so what could be the problem? The problem probably is the JavaScript. I think that there needs to be a init called, maybe, yeah, in order to take all of those wow elements, yeah. So if I reload the page, once again, okay, this animation looks cool, and let me just scroll. Okay, there it is. So once I reach the element, the animation is being played. So yeah, that's for the call to action, and also these services are being animated, if I'm not mistaken. So if I go, yeah, those services are animated. Once again, once I reach them, so inside here for every service we'll put wow and animated, and then will be something like zoom in. I think it's this one. So zoom in. Obviously you can add any animation that you want, okay, that you like, but I'll just use these things because I have them in the theme. But yeah, so copy paste it to every element, and we should be done. So let me just actually reload the page and see whether it actually worked. So did I save it? I saved it. And let me just reload this thing. Okay, and let's go down. There it is. Cool. So that's about it. That's pretty much everything that we need. And yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll see you next time. Okay, so quick bug fixing. I forgot to put the closing tag inside here, and that caused that the font awesome icons didn't load properly. So when I put the closing tag inside here and save the file, it should work. So when I reload the page, there should be an icons. Alright, Why there? Yeah, there it is. Cool. So yeah, that's it.